Hey, 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 hey. Hey, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the Poets House Live. It is Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night. It's not the last Tuesday of the month, but it is a Tuesday night. And we're doing a Poets Talk because there's so many poets out here. There's so many poets that you need to know, that you need to get to know. And so we're going to talk on some of these Tuesdays that I have an opportunity to get in here and talk to you. I'm expecting a very special guest here this evening. And she's traveling a lot. So I hope that she'll get here and you'll get an opportunity to meet her, talk to her, and share a little bit of the experience that she has experienced. Queensheba, Grammy nominated poet. And at the very recent 2024 Grammy, so that's quite an honor to be nominated, it is. And there's so much more that we have to talk about the culture, about poetry. And we're going to get in here and talk. But before I start this whole thing off, I want to have an idea about where you guys are from. Go ahead and get in here and comment where you are listening from, where you are watching from, if you are watching. And I see we got Tori in here. She said, hey, I am here. And Tori's in Darlington. We call it D-Town. How you doing over there in Darlington? Good to have you in the building. All right. Good to have you in here. Last week, I had a very special guest here with me, Ed Mabry. You know, Ed dropped a whole lot of knowledge on you guys. If you didn't get an opportunity to watch that one, let me tell you something. You need to go back. You need to make sure that you watch it because he shared a lot of information with you guys. He did. He absolutely did. So make sure that you go back and you watch that. It's up on YouTube. It's also right here on Facebook. So you can backtrack through the timeline. Just go back through there because there are so many gems dropped in that particular podcast. So many things that you needed to hear. And it was just wonderful the way that he shared. I got so many people who contact me and I got a lot of messages and they really appreciated it. They really did. Keep the faith, Victoria. She says a whole lot of knowledge was dropped. Yes, it was. So make sure you get there, get back there and check that out. All right. I've got some poets who are going to be coming in here. The mic is open. So if you happen to have a piece of poetry that you would like to share, I'm going to give you this opportunity right now. Go ahead and hit me. Hit me in that inbox. Hit me in the inbox. And I'm going to get a link to you. And you're going to be able to share because the mic will be open tonight. I also know I have a poet waiting in the back room back here. Her name is Georgia Nubia. Okay. And she is in Charleston, South Carolina. She's got a lot to share with you guys. And I won't tell you too much. I'll allow her to come on here and talk with you and share some of her news. There's just a lot going on in the culture. Now, I want you to keep coming in and I want you to let me know where you're from. I think I asked you to do that. Comment where you're from. I'm here in Flowtown. And I don't know how many of you have ever been to any open mics in Florence in South Carolina, but we've got a scene in South Carolina, several places. You can go to Columbia. They've got a really great vibe there. Charleston as well. So many poets in the area. So Don't say that there aren't events out here for you to go to. Don't say that you don't have any place to share your art. The thing about it is this. You've got to get out there. You've got to make those connections. You got to get out in this community. Find out where the artists are. Find your tribe. That's what you got to do. All right. I want to show you a little something of the guest that I'm expecting. And
Poetry can be moving, emotional, and sometimes even funny. And now some of the best will be highlighted at a worldwide level, including a poet who lives right here in Raleigh. Take a look. Her words.
Tell me you were cheating on me.
A mix of storytelling and hip hop.
In the print of your fingertips.
All of it. Her truth, her passion.
I started writing poetry when I was 7. I know that sounds cliche, but I did.
Queensheba's love for poetry and spoken word started early on, but she wasn't always on that path.
I was fired from Bank of America, thank you Bank of America, in 2001, so many years ago. And at the time, I was dabbling in spoken word poetry, going to some open mics at some art galleries.
After losing her job, Queensheba says she focused full-time on spoken word poetry, but it wasn't always easy.
I was comfortable in my apartment and my little Acura, and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make money?
She started selling CDs at open mic nights, trying to make ends meet.
I was sleeping on trains. I was sleeping on Greyhound buses. I was sleeping at Penn Station in New York to avoid paying hotel costs and fees. And it's just wild. I had my car repossessed my first year in, but also my first year in, I ended up on 106 Sutton Park and the Apollo.
Now, 23 years later, her hard work finally paying off. Queensheba has been nominated for a Grammy.
all right. So you realize that poetry is really making its way. And I can't say necessarily, and I don't think that it is fair to say that, of course, that the Grammys necessarily makes poetry seem like it's making its way. It has been here. It'll be here. It has always been here. It will always be here. There's been a number of great poets, and there's so many of our greats. And now that there is a category that is being recognized, of course, that is a wonderful thing. It really is. But I can't imagine that so many of the poets and greats before us who didn't have the Grammy opportunities, that doesn't, make the art less. And I'm going to say this, for those of you who watched the Grammys, and you watched even the musical artists and how the musical artists are responding to the Grammys, we can't make it seem like this makes us, because it absolutely didn't. We've been doing the art, and we're going to still be doing the art. I see I've got some more people who are chiming in here. I see we've got Tamel Bailey here, residing in Aiken, born in Queens, New York. How you doing? Hope to have you in the building. Hope to have you in the house. I see we've got Ryan here, Columbia, South Carolina. Columbia has a really great scene. Ryan, awesome poet as well. A lot of good poets chiming in. How y'all doing? Good to have you in the house with me. Excellent. And like I was telling them, trying to pull some incredible things off, and I want to make sure that you guys are absolutely here. I see I've got Queensheba in here with me. How are you, ma'am?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am well. I'm well. Wait. Are you there? Or is your picture frozen? Okay, here you are. I see you.
Oh, okay.
Hey, lady.
How's it going?
How are you? You've been traveling. I'm surprised that you're able to pull the whole thing off.
Oh yeah. The work doesn't stop, so I'm here, definitely. Lady V keeps me on my toes, so I'm appreciative of her.
All right. Thank you. I showed people just a little bit of the news clip not so long ago, that aired, but I want to show them just a little bit behind the scenes here, and then you can kind of talk us through it. How about that?
Absolutely.
All right. Go ahead. I see you A little behind the scenes
Oh
here.
my
Let us
God,
know.
it was just 2 days ago. It feels like a week ago, literally 48 hours ago.
Wow. That dress is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much. It was made by my friend Yadida, who also lives in Atlanta, Georgia. It's 14 pounds of leather. So if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see my description of it. And it's custom made. She ordered the leather from New York. And I will say, for you non-vegan people, if you decide to make this dress or a rendition of it, do not use cow leather. It was too heavy on my torso. As you see, Teresa is literally like, back in the 1600s, like pulling you see me on the wall. She's like pulling this
Yeah.
corset, trying to get it on. And this white thing that's on the bed right there, that's the tool. That's another like 3 pounds, maybe 3 or 4 pounds. It was full length to the floor. I didn't even realize you couldn't even see my shoes. It was just, it was really crazy. But yeah, you see me stepping into it after they've like tightened this thing on me. I had bruises on my ribs.
Oh
So
my goodness.
don't use cow leather. Use like, use something else. Use faux leather. I said that in my description next time. Now it's beautiful. Like this is me with a tulle on, has a beautiful twirl. I have the shoes on. I would say also, like, if you want to show your shoes, maybe make it an inch or two shorter, something like that. And my shoes were cool. They were, they were beautiful. Like, got them from Nordstrom's. Just they were on sale for $65 at Gianna Beanie, so I was really excited. And they had pearls on them, and fake pearls and fake diamonds on them. But if you're a vegan, definitely use faux leather. On if you're not a vegan, then definitely use lambskin. Lambskin is way lighter, so. If you're gonna
All
remake
right.
that dress. Yeah,
All
but I'm gonna auction
right.
off that dress because, of course, I can never wear it again anywhere ever, and I'm gonna put it on my website soon. I gotta update my website. Me and my partner literally just got back last night, probably at 9, and I've just been, trying to catch up. I keep thinking today's Monday, it's Tuesday. So, yeah, so I'm gonna put that dress on my website, and yeah, so whoever wants it, I'm gonna auction it off until the end of Women's History Month, and whoever has the highest bid, I'm gonna ship it to you.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
All right, guys. You see her website address is www.thequeensheba.live. So make
absolutely.
sure that you check that out. I tell you what, I'm meeting you here virtually, but I feel like, these internet streets will really make you feel like you know a person.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
It,
definitely.
it really, really does. And I feel like it because I watch you. I kind of watch the connection that a lot of you poets out there have. I follow you like George and me, and I love the connection that you all have. Talk a little bit to me about how important it is, no matter what city you're in, to find a tribe and find your network
Oh,
within the
it's
culture.
extremely important. That's so I live between Atlanta and Raleigh with my partner, and the first thing I did was find a running group because I'm a runner. I found a cycling group because I'm a cyclist, and then I found some poetry events. But fortunately, because I've been a poet for 23 years, I already knew the poets that are making the biggest waves here, and so of course I just asked them, hey, what's going on in the city? And then you go out. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing poetry. If you feel like, oh, I'm a veteran, I don't need to go to open mics, well, you're wrong, because you always have a new poem that you need to work out. You always have new people that you need to meet. You always have new friends you need to make or connections, and you just never know when you can serve your network. And it's not about them needing you. It's about how you can serve your network, and that way everybody can grow together. As soon as I got here, I decided, so what can I do? How can I help? How can I help the open mics? And, of course, they're good, but, they're like, okay, hey, maybe you can put on a workshop about how to submit for the Grammys, because there's a few steps, and, you have to be prepared for it, financially, mentally, spiritually. It's a serious thing. And just like you said, the Grammys are not creating spoken word, and it's not, verifying or edifying our existence. We don't do poetry for the Grammys. The award is nice. Let me not say that it's
Absolutely.
not. Whenever we are recognized for our craft and talent, it's, of course, it's dear to our heart, and we're being seen. And the Grammys are helping us be seen by millions of people that would not have seen spoken word in the first place. And so that is how if nothing else, that the Grammys is definitely helping with that. But you have to be involved in that community. You can't just show up and submit your album and think, oh, I'm going to win. No, you have to get
Right.
involved with your chapter. You have to serve your chapter. You have to volunteer. You have to help. You have to da 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 da, and on and on and on. So the work is never ending until you die. And so make sure that you're ready to work for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I didn't get an opportunity to read your bio, but I do want to acknowledge, you are a master poet. You have been featured on a Grammy nominated album, If Your Feelings, with Robert Glasper.
Yeah.
In fact, we need to talk about your particular piece of work that, gave you the honor to be nominated for the Grammys. And that is, let me make sure that I get this correct here. A, you're not wrong. B, they're not either. The F It Peel Revisited.
That's correct.
Talk about that album and talk about what it took for you to put this body of work together.
Okay, so yesterday on my story, I said that I wanted to tell poets something I did wrong. So I want to start there first. I want to tell you what I did wrong so that you don't do it if you're considering submitting your album for the Grammys. So I had the honor of making friends with first, still community, right? Still connection, still an organic connection with Robert Glasper. And he asked myself, Teresa the Songbird, and Stacey Ann Chen. We're the 3 Black women poets that are on his album, F Your Feelings. And Teresa and I, well, just me, because I can only speak for myself, I made the mistake of assuming that because his album was nominated for a Grammy, that also meant that I was nominated for a Grammy. That is not the case. And so that's where I went wrong. If you're on someone's album that is nominated for a Grammy, congratulations. But that does not mean that you are nominated for a Grammy. That album is nominated for a Grammy, and that artist is now a Grammy nominated artist. And
Right.
right. And so that's where I went wrong. So I don't want anybody to make that mistake. And even if you work with me or anybody else that has an album that gets Grammy nominated, or all the guests that are on my current project, which is A, You're Not Wrong, B, They're Not Either, they are not Grammy nominated. They are guests on a Grammy nominated album, which of course they can put on their resume. Absolutely 100%. So I just don't want anybody to be a guest on someone's Grammy nominated album in the future and then start to say they are Grammy nominated. The reason why that is so big is because for 3 years in between the time that I was on Robert Glasper's album and the time that I got my own nomination, people assumed I was already Grammy nominated, and it took away some of the thunder, right? It took away some of the aha. It took away some of the first time, some of the novelty, some of the, oh my God, she's finally arrived at this moment. And I don't want anybody else to go through that. And so just know it's awesome. It's wonderful that if you're on an album that gets Grammy nominated, wonderful. You can update your resume and say, I am a guest on a Grammy nominated album with Big Bird, Cookie Monster, whoever, right? But that does not mean that you're Grammy nominated. So how that got me there after I learned that, and it was actually the Recording Academy, because now I'm a part of that community, who noticed it on my signature in my email. And someone emailed me and said, hey, we looked you up and you're not nominated. You're on Robert Glasper's album, but you're not Grammy nominated. And then she was like, please remove that before legal sees it. And I was like, whoa. And so I had to change like all my social media. I had to change my bio. I had to change my links, like everything, right?
Okay.
Because you get excited and you put this out in the world. And so I started to, come up with my own, hey, I was a guest on Robert Glasper's, da, da, da. So fast forward 3 years later, all albums are due by August 31st of every year. So in this current year, create your album now if it's not already created. And then submission starts in July. It doesn't start now, but just get everything together. And then you submit your album to be considered. That's step 1. Step 1 is that you submit the album. So we're talking about spoken word. So let's just pretend, MsTONYA, you put out an album, I put out an album, Lady V puts out an album, and everybody that's watching the show puts out an album under the poetry spoken word category. That's fine. Everybody's going to get the first list that has 200 albums and names on it, right? And Everybody is then submitted. That still does not make you Grammy nominated. So that's the first round of voting, which happens between September and October. Everybody submits by August 31st. And then the Recording Academy, it's actual real people that they solicit to listen to the albums to make sure that you're in the right category. Because if you put out too much rock on your album and only a little poetry, they're going to move you over to the rock category. So to be in spoken word, you have to have 51% poetry. You can have rock, you can have hip hop, you can have gospel, you can do whatever. You can sing, you could be live, you can have guests on there. You can have guests that are rappers. I had 4 rappers on mine, right? And a couple singers. All of that is absolutely 100% fine, but 51% of it needs to be poetry or spoken word. It can still be with music, but it has to be 51% poems, right? Poetry.
Okay. And
And
see,
so
but I'm
that's
sorry.
important.
Respect.
Sure.
What I find a lot of the times is that poetry albums kind of walk that fine line with rap albums. I don't know if you find that a lot of the times,
Well,
but
it also
how?
determines who you think you are, how you live your life. I don't live my life as a rapper. So when you Google me or find me on social media, everywhere it says, Queensheba, poet, spoken word artist, author, speaker, this is poet, spoken word artist. So if I lived my life as a hip hop artist or a rapper, then I would be submitting under the hip hop category, right? But people will listen to it. There are it's not a computer. That's why it takes about 3 to 4 weeks from the time we submit August 31st till the first round of voting starts. So you submit by August 31st, go about your life. You don't even think about it. Just wait until you get the email that says, hey, first round of voting is now starting. Now, the first round of voting means that everybody who submitted is in that category. It could be 50, it could be 200, it could be 1,000. It doesn't matter. That's the first round of voting. So now your job during first round of voting is campaigning. It is your job to get on your social media and talk to your organic friends who know you to be a poet, because we're talking about the poetry spoken word category, and say, hey guys, I'm in the poetry spoken word category. Please listen to my album. You cannot tell them to vote for you. And if you are caught or found out that you are telling people, soliciting or trading favors for people to vote for you, you will be disqualified from the voting and or possibly kicked out of the Recording Academy if you're in it. And let me be clear, you do not, and I want to repeat this, you do not have to be a part of the Recording Academy to submit an album. So think of it like a record label. You do have to submit under somebody that is in the Recording Academy, and they don't necessarily have to be a poet. If you have a friend, an organic friend that's a comedian, and you're like, hey, can you submit my album under spoken word? Because I live in blah, 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 Utah, and I don't know anybody, right? And so your comedian friend who is in the Recording Academy says, yeah, sure, I can submit your album for you. And then you work that out with them. They submit your album under the poetry and spoken word category. So you do not have to be a Recording Academy member to submit your album. And you do have to be a Recording Academy member to post it for them for it to be voted on. Just think of it as a record label like that. So, but the call and the call out for poets is because we need more poets to vote for poets. So even if you're a poet that does one woman or man or non-binary shows or plays, or if you do film for poetry, you don't necessarily have to put out an album, but we need more poets to come to our poetry category. Because once you become a Recording Academy member, a voting member, you are not allowed to vote in categories that are not necessarily in your everyday. So I would vote in jazz. I would vote in country. I love country music. I can prove it. If anybody ever, came to me and was like, well, you voted in the country category. I do love comedy, right? I could vote under like scores for movies, things like that. I'm a big movie buff. And of course, poetry, hip hop, and R&B and soul. And those are the categories that are really in my life. So if you're a rock head, I might be able to vote under like alternative rock. But I'm a kind of an old rock head, like Guns N' Roses and well, the Fray isn't old, but you know what I mean? Like, the Fray, but they're not, if they put out a new album, I'm definitely voting for them. So it's just, but for people that you can actually validate that are in your world, that are in your life, right? So you can do that. There's so many small rules. It just is really to hold people honest about voting for the album itself and not and for it not to become a popularity contest. And if anybody watched the speech by Jay-Z, we all know that it becomes a
Yeah.
popularity contest. And I'm not saying don't work that in your favor. If you have favor and you're a well-known spoken word artist, definitely use it to your advantage. So you have to work
Wow.
all the angles.
Well, I
Mhm.
tell you what, you just shared so much information, and I just see the comments just flowing through.
Oh,
A
what
few
are they
people
saying? Let's
are,
answer some comments. I can't see
you
anything they're
know,
saying.
we've got Kevin Mullins in
What's
here.
up, Kevin
He's a
Mullen?
all right. He said, "What's goody, fam?" Also, we've got Nigel in here saying, "What's poppin', famo?" All right. Okay, we got Kelly Hannah. She said, "Hey, girl." And also, we've got Ryan Jenkins. She's a poet out in Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh,
She
thank
said, "Beautiful
you so much.
dress, super dope on your honor. Keep the faith with Tori." She says, "That's great information."
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tori. Yeah,
Right,
thank you.
right.
Anytime you guys have questions, you can DM me. Of course, now that I've been to the Grammys and back, I'm getting a lot of DMs, emails, and phone calls. So just have patience with me, but I will answer them all for sure.
hmm
Personally.
Also, we also have Soul Child in here saying, "Very informative nuggets being shared. Peace and grace, poets." And you might know this guy here, Bugsy
Hey, what up,
Calhoun.
Bugsy? I know him a little bit. You might
You
know him a
know
little
him a
bit.
little bit. Little something. Bugsy
A
said,
little something.
"Peace,
I wanted you
congrats."
in too, Bugsy. I appreciate that. And and I'm not gonna say I didn't. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it was just the networking that was amazing. It was that too. But you got to get out there and get it. I was there for a week. I was there for a week.
Oh,
I got there.
wow.
Oh yeah, I got there on Tuesday. It's Grammy week, and it's
hmm
really and I was telling my partner, I said, this is really more like a festival or a conference, is what this is. And the Recording Academy calls it Grammy week, starting on that Monday. So
hmm
there is a spreadsheet that floats around about all the events that are happening, either outside of the official Grammy events and then the Grammy events. And I was very fortunate. To have my ASCAP manager and of course Lady V help me, secure some of the things, and then I hired a veteran PR person for the week. You can actually do that, just kind of like having
Okay.
an attorney. You can hire a PR person for the week or for the month, or of course you can hire one now, right? You can hire one now and help them they will help you with visibility and depending on how large their reach is. And so the
hmm
PR person I had, her name is Lana Walker, and she helped me during the second phase of voting. When you do become nominated, that phase of voting happens from December to January. And after the nominations are announced in November, and then there's like another gap, right? And so then you vote again. That's the second round of voting about it was like December 14th to January 4th. So it was 4 weeks. And so
Okay.
that's when they open that pink envelope on stage. And nobody knows who the winner is except for that third party vote counting agency. They're the only ones who know the winner is. I'm sure it's leaked somewhere. You know what I mean? I'm sure. I'm sure, like, they're human beings. I'm sure
Right.
somebody was like, Taylor Swift is gonna win again. So
So
I'm
tell me
sure.
something. Throughout that week, and there's different events going on. What was that like, and how did you navigate that? How important do you feel like that was in terms of networking and meeting
Oh,
people? Do you
extremely.
feel?
Extremely. Like, don't sleep on it.
Mhm.
Let me tell you this, for all the poets watching, it is expensive AF. If you plan on submitting and you feel like you have a shot of being nominated, even if you don't, if you want to go out there to network during that week, it is expensive. And most of the events are invite only, even if they're not Grammy events. Like the Clive Davis event was invite only. I was like, how do I get invited to the Clive Davis event? Because I heard people go to the Clive Davis event and walk out stars the next year. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, how do I get to there? Right. And
hmm
so of course, people are joking, like, don't go to the Puffy party. I'm like, guys, this is my first time out here, right? I just explained that. So let me enjoy myself.
Right.
So it is extremely important. You will be exhausted. It's worth it. You can see the bag. These are little bags under my eyes from the week. Seriously.
hmm
It's very expensive. Everything is
It's
triple the price.
L.A.
It's LA1, but it's also triple the price because they know it's award season. And then remember, there was a writer's strike. So the Golden Globes were just last 2 weeks before the Grammys, and then the Grammys. And next week is Super Bowl in Vegas, which is only 2 hours driving away. So
Right.
they know that people, would rather drive 2 hours to the Super Bowl and then get hotels in LA. Like, it's insane. It's really insane. Just the
Mhm.
food alone. Like, if you get a hotel instead of an Airbnb, you don't have any access to a refrigerator or a stove. You just have a mini fridge. And me
Right.
and my partner spent so much money on food. The other thing, for people that are into health and fitness, which I told you earlier I am, and for those of y'all who are meeting me for the first time, I am. I saw the pictures. I wish you could pull them up. I mean, you probably could, but I wish we had talked about it. But the picture of me Tuesday looks like normal me, right? My face, sunken in, and I'm fit and in shape. By Sunday, my face is swollen with salt and sugar. That video you just showed, I was like, oh my God. Like it, and me and my partner came back, like, we're just drinking gallons of water for the next 6 months.
Gotta hydrate.
Alcohol. There's nothing gonna be but protein and salad in the house for the next 4 weeks. Yeah, it was bad because you don't have access to your normal food, your normal regimen. I took my running shoes and my workout shoes. You're beat in the morning. Like, you don't get
Listen.
in until 2, 3, 4, and then you're back up downstairs at breakfast, probably at 7 for your car to arrive at 9, 9:30. Your car or your Uber, whatever, your friend, your
Right.
car, your Uber, your rideshare, whatever, to go to the first event, and then the second event, and then the third event during the day. You come back, you take a break, you try to eat a meal, and then you're going out to 1, 2, or 3 events at night. And yes, the networking, if you get nominated or not, Poets, definitely go next year, the
Yeah.
year after. I plan to be there. I mean, forever. I just know now how to navigate it, is what I'll say.
You know what? I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that because I went to Sundance this year. And so I was
another
out there.
expensive trip.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. So
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of the expense, but so worth it. And it was my
It's so worth
first
it.
time. Yeah, it was my first time out there. And just like what you just said, like I know how to navigate it now. And I
Yes.
can see myself doing that. And the connections, I can't even, I'm still full, and there's just a whole lot that I still have to
Mhm.
take in. And
Take
like
in,
I don't even,
digest. I still have
yeah.
thank you emails to send. And that's so important, people watching
Mhm.
those thank you even if they're to the like, I went to the Women in Mixed brunch. I wasn't even a part of it, but just, hey, thank you for putting on a great brunch. This was awesome. I am part of ASCAP for those poets who have music and poems that are circulating on the internet. Make sure you can hit up Lyric. She is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's the one who helps me with my royalties. I get a royalty check every quarter, just like Cardi B, just like Ice Spice, just like Lionel Richie, just like anybody else. Maybe not on the same level, but I get a royalty check and every quarter, and you can start getting one as early as March. And if you have music that you haven't claimed that has been out there, you can go to Sound Exchange and they'll send you monies that you're owed from the last 2 years. So when I first started collecting royalties about 10, 15, 12 years, more than that. Oh geez, about 15 years ago. I think my first check was about $6,000. And that might not be a lot, but it was a lot. And then I would say for poetry I probably get an average of about anywhere between $500 and $1,000 for royalties. And that's just people playing your stuff on the internet unknown, right? That's
Wow.
not me. That's not me with a Grammy nomination. So it'll
Right.
probably uptick a little bit. That's not me on Robert Glasper's album. I mean, well, actually a little bit is for the last couple years. But,
Mhm.
that's people playing it on the internet like you, or playing it at colleges and universities. That's not even you pushing your album and telling people. That's not even Spotify, people, I'm verified on Spotify. So you get a check for that. It's very, very important. The networking is important. Getting out there. You were talking earlier about South Carolina and North Carolina having poetry shows and events. And it's important that you get out. You don't have to, drain your pockets or yourself mentally, emotionally, or spiritually and go every Tuesday, every Wednesday. You don't have to do that. But it is
Right.
important that you stick your hand in the pond often. And I mean
You're
often, like
right.
more than a few times a month,
Yeah.
several times. You need to go out and get on the open mic. It doesn't matter your accolades or who the bleep you are, because you have poems that you want to share. And I was just telling my partner that actually poets do it backwards. And I think R&B artists and singers and hip hop artists really need to follow our lead, because the way poets put out albums, think about this. And this is not official. I just
Hmm.
watched over the
Right.
last 20 years. I've noticed that we and I will write a new poem, right? We write a new
Hmm.
poem, we love it, so we'll share it. And then when the audience loves it, we continue to do that. So there's one poem, right? Then we write another poem. We see how the audience feels about that. We go on tour with these 5 or 6 new poems. Then we got about 10 poems. We go on tour, we make an album. So we've already tested out the poems that are gonna go on the album, where singers do it the opposite. They hide, right, in the winter. They put out 10 songs. They put out the album hoping that 1 or 2 or 3 of them is a hit. We've already
Right.
tested out our poems. We make the album with the poems we've already tested out on stage. And again, this is not official. I've just noticed that's how we do
Right.
it versus the opposite of singers. I'm like, hey,
I'm
we've already
I'm
tested
glad
out.
you said that. I'm
Mhm.
glad you said that because open mic is so very important.
It's so
And
important.
and like what we have now with this technology and what you and I are doing now, doing this virtually, I feel like that is important to do. And of course, this came out of the pandemic, and so I wanted to feel like, okay, we can't get out
But it makes
here
it more
and do this
accessible.
poetry. It does. It absolutely does. So I'm like, we need to support our virtual open mics. We need
Mhm.
to talk to each other, have these type of conversations because you're going to get people like myself who are in smaller towns and people who are in smaller towns than mine who are writers and who are poets, and there's just not they don't have the network. They're not somewhere where a Queensheba would be. They're not somewhere where a Ed Mabry would be, a Georgia Meade. Like
Mhm.
they don't know. And so if they get an opportunity to hear them talk, that's what I would like for them to know.
You could be
We've
the
got to
Queen
hear this
Sheba or
information.
the Miss Tanya of your town. Don't be me, be better, And that's so
Absolutely.
important that you teach other poets what you know. Don't hoard that information because what's for you is for you. It's already written, it's already out
Right.
there, it's already in God's hands. And if you show up to your life and continue to do what you're supposed to do, then God will unveil it for you. But if you just sit in your corner and be like, oh, nobody's ever going to hear me, then God's like, well, you didn't want anybody to hear you. So, I'm going to keep this to myself since you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And God doesn't pass it to somebody else. That God
Mm,
does not pass your story to somebody else, does not
no.
pass your accolades or your awards or whatever you were going to get. You either get them because you get out there and you work hard to get them, or you don't.
Right.
Everybody's story is for them. So yeah, so I encourage you to come out to the Grammy. I was invited to Sundance by my friend Lakeisha. She's in the DMV area a few
Mhm.
years ago. And I was like, well, I was trying to find the cheap route, right? She was like, look, you either coming or you not. This is not a cheap trip.
Right.
She told me straight up. She was like, I was like,
There is
I'm
no.
gonna pass this time. And because again, too, Sundance wasn't necessarily in my wheelhouse, right?
Right. I
I
get it.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily for me to have that expense. But now that I have Poetry versus Hip Hop and we're coming out with a short and a documentary about how I got started, now Sundance will be in my wheelhouse, right? Now I'll be able to submit independent artists or solicit independent artists and poets for the score of the film instead of getting popular music. Then the people that were in Poetry versus Hip Hop, I'm gonna use their hip hop songs and their poems to then they we could submit to the Grammys and to the Sundance and and all those things.
Right.
So yeah.
It's
So
listen.
put your friends on. Stop asking to be put on. Put
Yes.
yourself on and put your friends on. You got a
Yeah.
talented person in your city, use them, or in your country or your world that use them. I'm not
Hey,
going to say stop asking to be put on. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but people will work with you more once they see that you're also already doing the work.
that's important, but I do want to add this piece as well. Everything that you just said, but also be willing to lift and support that person that you see is on the
Oh
rise.
yes.
Stop
Oh
being
yeah.
so afraid of thinking that you have to be
They're going to
next.
steal your
You
shine or
see who's next. No,
yes.
well,
Yeah,
I'm okay. I don't even want to get to retirement, but let's be honest. You see who's next. Push
absolutely.
them, support them. Just like you said, all of
Absolutely.
these things that we're doing is expensive. But
Mhm.
somebody's
Mhm.
gotta break through there. Somebody's gotta get their foot in that door, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody's gonna kick it open.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do that. We've got to stop being afraid to support each other. I know that. I mean, and music has this. Rappers sometimes has this, and I do know that poets. There are some poets that have this as well. They have these chips on their shoulders. Everybody's going to have an ego of some sorts. I particularly don't subscribe to that, but I see it, and I can also respect it because I know that people work in a different way, and if that's your
Mm-hmm.
thing, that's your thing. But I
Mm-hmm.
want to support that
It's
person
not
that
of
I see
God
as
though.
next.
And if
It's
God has,
not.
it's not of God though. And we're human. And for a long time, I was fed by veteran poets that's the way to behave. It's not. Love is the way to behave. Lifting up other poets, the poets that you see on their way is the way to be. And collab with them. They could teach you something, and they may have a
Yes.
reach that you don't.
Hmm.
So that's super important. And again, especially because we're talking about poets, help them once you get into the recording academy, help them get into recording academy. It costs $150 and no skin off of your back, because the
Wow.
more people that you have rallying in your corner,
Hmm.
then the more support you'll get. So I want to say super quickly, to be a part of the recording academy, you need 2 recommendations. They do not have to be from people in the recording academy, but they do have to submit on their own. It's not something that you can write. The best thing you can give them maybe is an updated version of your bio so that they can speak intelligently to your entire career. But besides that, it's something that they do on their own. Now you can say, hey, would you mind, being one of my referrals, and maybe say, hey, did you make the referral? But besides that, it's not something that you can log on and do. So you ask somebody that's in the music world, or somebody that can speak to you as a poet in your career as a poet. It could be a professor, it could be anybody. I wouldn't say your mama, unless they're in poetry and
But
spoken
my
word.
mama loved me.
Yeah, no, sorry, mom. I mean, unless your mom is a famous poet, which there's somebody. Teresa Davis' mom is Alice Lovelace, so Alice Lovelace could
Right.
recommend Teresa Davis. You know what I mean? So that's a thing. But besides that, it could be 2 people. They do not have to be in the recording academy to refer you to be in. So what happens is you'll get 2 referrals, and then a recording academy, if they approve. Now, I want to be very careful. Just because you get 2 referrals, a human being will read these referrals and see if you are elite enough. And that is the word I want to use. If you are elite enough to be part of the biggest family of music in the world. And if
Right.
they deem so, then they will send you an email and say, hey, 2 of your friends thought you were dope. Click this link to now create your profile as a recording academy member. And you have to pay the once a year fee. It's only $150. It just went up $50 this year. It
Okay.
literally has been 100. It was free forever. And then it was $100. And now it's $150. You spend $150 on Starbucks and gas every week. So
Yeah.
$150 a year. That's it. That is
Right.
it. Now, of course, they do fundraising events and things like that, but your membership to be a recording academy member, and of course, every year they're going to say, hey, your membership is about to expire. Click this link so that you can re-up. Do not pay it every year. Borrow it if you have to.
Hmm.
Again, you don't have to put out an album, but we need more poets to vote for
We
poets.
got to do it. So y'all hear that, poets? We need more poets to be a part. If we want this to grow, we are responsible for making sure that it grows. So let's
Absolutely,
do that. You've heard all of
absolutely.
this information, and as we're taking it all in, I feel like we're all going to have to go back and watch this and take some notes. But I want to switch gears up a little bit and get off of the Grammys because there's so much more that is done in the culture, and I want to talk about. You have 2 books out, am I
I do.
right?
I have 2 books out. I have one on the way. One book is called From Foster Care to Fame. You can support that book on my website, thequeensheba.live, as Miss Tanya put up earlier. And then I have a book, a motivational book for runners. You can also, those 2 are available that you can purchase off my website, and I'll get them right out to you. The other book that's I have 2 books on the way. One book is called Clemency Poems to Help You Accept the Apologies You Will Never Receive.
Ooh,
And that came out of my thesis I went to Queen's University in Charlotte for my MFA. And that came out of that thesis project, and just talking about, you're going to go through a lot in life. And sometimes you're not going to get the apology in your face that you deserve. But the world and karma and God will help you show up for these amazing things that you just have to know that's your spiritual apology,
Right.
from God
Listen,
for
I
through other
already
people.
love it. I already love it.
Yeah.
Are there pre-orders?
There are pre-orders. So there are pre-orders. Oh, my battery is about to die. Let me plug in my battery. But
Okay.
there are pre-orders, but the thing about it is you just gotta trust me. I do not know when it's gonna come out. I want to. I was independently published through a small press by Red Summer and her mother, called Two Fingers Press in Chicago a few years ago, and I would love to be published again through a small or a large press. So I
And
didn't want to
that's what I wanted
independently
to ask
publish
you.
this time. Go ahead. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the publishing, independently being published, like self-publishing, and then also an independent publisher, small publishing, because a lot of poets, because of what we can do here, like I said, we're using this technology, and a lot of people, they're writing their chapbooks and they're making them available on Amazon. I happen to have my book actually on Amazon.com.
My book's
So
not available on Amazon, but the difference between self-publishing and independent publishing, and then a major publishing house, of course,
right, or three
even
different
still,
things.
right. So independent publishing even could be considered what's it called, button poetry, but they're a
Right.
large platform, so they're helping poets like get $40,000 and $50,000 advances. Those are great. So a major
Hmm.
publishing house can get you $100,000 $200,000 advances and contracts for 2-3 years, right?
Right.
So independent publishing can be anybody that has the ability to get you distribution outside of just you putting your book on Amazon. And then self-publishing is putting on Amazon. Give me 2 seconds to plug this in, y'all.
Yeah, I'll do that. I tell you what, my good people, I want to open the mic up here. I want to get somebody in and give someone an opportunity to share a piece of work, because this is also your favorite virtual open mic. So we are going to open the mic. All right. I got someone in here who I want to bring in here. How are you doing? Let me bring her to the stage. All right, lady. How are you feeling?
Hi.
I'm doing
This
great. How are you?
doing well.
Oh, cool. Oh my God, I'm so honored to be on here right now.
I love
Well,
those paintings. Did you do those?
Yes.
Oh, I need some. Do you have any for
Yeah.
sale?
Yeah, my
Oh,
house
those-
is full of artwork.
Oh yeah. Where do you live?
I actually live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, that's not far.
Yeah.
all right, lady. Well, I know what the mic is officially open. I know that you're a poet. We see that you are an artist, and we're here now with Queensheba. And I want to give you the mic. I want to give you an opportunity to share a piece of work with us. Are you ready?
I am. Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, do what you do. It is Georgia Nubia, y'all.
All right. I wrote this poem to affirm myself. I'm the only person required to show up for me. So here I am, sitting pretty in my power with purpose and peace. Crowned on my head, wand in my hand, something fly on my feet. And it feels good. Showing up for me. Inserting know what it should be. Setting the boundaries around me. Causing a constant elevation, a spiral levitation of perfection. Showing the balanced synergies of the masculine and feminine energies within me. Goddess. So yes, I know I am a preference. Just like Spice Girls and Tech Nine, like a girl who wears black all the time, like mixing your liquor with your wine. So I understand I am not for everyone, because I see things differently and I speak with compassion and authenticity. And yes, I love everything about me, from my knocked knees to the gap in between my teeth. And yeah, I do have a big heart. So that's how I lead, with love, through love, for love. And I feel everything deeply. So there's no hiding your emotions with me, because so there's no hiding your emotions with me. But now I no longer let my emotions control me, because I'm full of confidence, resilience, brilliance, and a whole lot of hood shit. Another ghetto goddess full of gangster goddess energy. And I am the only person required to show up for me. So here I am, sitting pretty in my power with purpose and peace.
Woo.
That was that.
Yes,
piece.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Snaps
Thank
on
you.
snaps on snaps. I see the people in here. They already. We got Keep the Faith with Tori. She's like, yes. All right. We got Ryan in here. She was like, Georgia Nubia.
Yes, I just met her recently. We did a slam together, and that was our first time doing it together. And she is awesome. We bartered books and everything. I got her books.
No, I love that.
And it was like she's just amazing, and it was fun. So,
She
hey,
is.
Ryan.
She's amazing. She's an amazing educator, poet. She does, like all of us, like every good poet. You know, you're in the community, and that's kind of what we do.
That's
We
true.
also
Changed my life. I'm a teacher now too.
We've got
Oh, me too. Yeah, I'm
we
a
got
teacher
Nigel
at
in
Clark
here.
Atlanta. Yeah, it's so
Okay.
important to be a teacher.
Oh yeah.
You find yourself doing that.
Yeah.
We have to. You have to give this thing back.
You do.
But I want to give you your flowers
You know
as
what?
the comments are coming up.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
I am unsettled with the giving it back. I know those kids. I'm giving it forward. I'm giving it forward.
Yeah.
And they didn't
Correct
contribute
me.
to here, so I didn't even go to Clark for me to say that I'm giving it back. So if I taught at Old Dominion University and then I do give back and I teach at Queen's University of Charlotte every so often for like a one-off workshop or something that they're doing for their graduate students, that's me giving back. But for Clark Atlanta, I feel like I'm paying it forward. Like I want to,
Yes, ma'am.
just like you said earlier, I see who's coming, and there's always one star out of the class. The rest of the class is just trying to get through it, right? They're like, oh, poetry. What am I doing, right? And there's always one star who's really into it, who knows about spoken word, who did poetry or slams in their high school, and they just take off with it. And that's So I'm always excited to find those students.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We got Ty Davis in here. He said, "Love that poem.
Thank you so much."
Yeah, Keep the Faith with Tori. She says, "I feel all this." She's feeling it
I
all.
wrote that poem based on a piece of artwork I have on my wall with all the 7 chakras, from my crown to my root. They all have a phrase that go with it where you speak power into your life. And it goes, I understand, I see, I speak, I feel, I do. I said it backwards. It's I do, I feel, and then I am. And I am is your root chakra. So when you speak I am, you speak life. So you want to always speak life when you say those things. So you want to affirm yourself, or I want to affirm myself poetically in a lot of different ways. So when I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I remind myself I am the only person required to show up for me. Like, then I'm gonna show up for myself every time.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all, I'm gonna bring a little masculine energy into this little open mic real quick and let him share a little piece.
I think I got a little masculine energy.
Well, you know, we all do.
I think mine tips the scale a little bit.
I don't know.
I know that face. I know Big Bailey.
Come on, Big. How you feeling, sir?
I'm good. It's good to be here. Such a pleasure, such honor. Thank you for doing this. And I just want to show a little butt kissing for Queensheba.
Oh, look at the butt. Bring it closer to the camera. It's blended into the camera. There you go.
Bring it up.
There you go. Yeah, put it in front of your shirt. Put it in front of your shirt. There you go. Because it's blended into your red background. Hey, that's my book, y'all.
Yes, that I purchased from her in Atlanta. I met her the first time I met her in person when I was a part of Tamika Fest. Shout to Georgia, me, of course. And I just recently, last year, ran into her at Southern Fried, which the shirt I have on. It's 2023.
Yes.
So yes, I definitely want happy to be a part of this. And I definitely look forward to sharing my piece.
All right. Well, come on and do what you do, sir.
All right. So this is titled The Journey of Mother's Love from Kitchen to Soul. My mother, Johnny Mae, was my kitchen. And now you know how much a fat man loves food. That's why I would always easily say to Johnny May, I love you. I would go to her for nourishment, both physically and mentally. She would feed me. She held the keys to the vehicle of my heart. I never had to travel far for kindness, since her emotional mirrors never seemed to have blindness in any spots that are marked like powdered X's. A sweet confection, a trove of treasures, even after she drove off this life's exit. See, I've learned many lessons about death and how we're affected. Instead of parking on the one day I lost her, I focus on the many fond memories I'm left with. And together we reached the nexus between humor and honesty. I honored her. She even honored me. I was never left wandering. My wander years weren't filled with tears, no. They were instead cherished more than the vehicle's brake pads. Yes, the brake pads. Because I used to hate that I was left with no great dad, but she was the one responsible for stopping tons worth of potential damage. Her warm, inviting arms were my car doors. They would open and close upon me, wrapping me like the most delectable sandwich. See, I always wondered how she managed baking a spiritual cake with so few ingredients. So to her, I was always obedient and we never famished. Now, Johnny May really loved to cook. Now, as I look back in the rear view, there is a clear view of how fulfilled my mother's love made me feel, which is probably why I'm so fat now. No, F-A-T, flourishing all times and genteel. See, this eager fat kid would always try to sample before she was done with the meal, but now she has instilled patience and wisdom in me to know, even though she's navigated to her eternal destination, it is within my heart and soul that she will forever have habitation. So I want every persuasion and every nation to look their mother straight in the face and say every single day, you know I love you, mother. So you don't have to wait until Mother's Day to show appreciation. If she's passed and gone, pray and say, I love you, mother. And if she's miles away, call her, say, I love you, mother. And if you're estranged from your mother, now is the time to unite. We've got to come together. We've got to do better. Smile and say, I will love you forever.
Woo! Yes, sir. All right, man. I appreciate you sharing here. Thank you for bringing that to us.
What was it? And flourishing. What was the FAT?
Come on, tell me about that fat kid again. Flourishing all time.
Flourishing
right?
all times, definitely.
Yes. A lot of people love that. We got Ty Davis in the building. He sending some hearts out. Love that. Thank you for that mother poem. We gotta love a good mother poem, I tell you. And today is my mother's birthday.
Oh, birthday. What is it? She's an Aquarius?
Yeah.
Oh,
she and Barb Marley sharing this whole day today.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna bring one more poet, if you don't mind. If I bring one more poet in, Sheba, do you mind?
No, of course not. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I mind. No.
Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
How you doing, Ryan? We're doing good. Good to have you. Good to have you on the mic. I want to go ahead and get a couple people on the mic before we get out of here, and that will be very soon. So, Ryan, you out there in Columbia, South Carolina, educating our babies, making sure that they read.
Yes, trying. Yes.
Can I ask a question? How far is Columbia from Greenville?
About 2.5 hours, maybe.
So I'll be in Greenville performing on the 17th. So wait, I want to make sure I get that date right. The 15th. Yeah, the 17th. Next week. Yeah, the 17th. I'll be performing. The flyer's already on my IG page, but I usually post my entire schedule once a week, so I'll probably do it tomorrow morning. But yeah, I'll be there. I
will definitely make that trip. Yes.
Yeah, we got to hook up and go out there.
Yes.
All right,
yeah,
Ryan.
Yes.
Share your piece before we break this beautiful thing we got going on here.
Yes. So again, peace and blessings to both of y'all. Greatly appreciate this honor. I'm going to read a piece that was recently published in my newest book that came out, my third poetry anthology, Confessions. This was actually written I don't remember the time frame, but the young ladies came to school. You could tell very traumatized, witnessing their mothers being abused, and they, confided in me and shared with me, and that just stuck with me. So I wrote this poem called "Mama, What Are You Teaching Me?"
Ooh.
Mama, what are you teaching me? I cry because you cry. You tell me to wipe my tears. Sometimes I wonder whether or not you believe it will cause the rage to grow into an inferno. This household is already consumed with his constant blaze, night after night, day after day. I wonder why you continue to let him stay. Praying God will continue to see the beauty in the ashes, the remnants lingering, surprising ourselves we survive his venom. Is love supposed to feel this way? Rainbows are always overpowered by hurricanes and tornadoes, hailing down blows nobody knows exactly how to forecast or predict. How we wish we knew how to avoid the slaps, the punches, the kicks, and the bruises followed by excuses. He must have missed the lesson in school when you're expected to breathe. Sticks and stones should never bring relief and ease. The joy and peace and solace we used to experience on a daily basis has been eradicated. Your presence is the warm blanket, yet a trigger he grips relentlessly, unapologetic until you threaten to leave. Bluffs, puffs of smoke that choke any glimmer of hope, deaf to your promises and fantasies he will change. Why does he need to be given another opportunity to prove himself unworthy? Supporting our family financially should not grant him permission, access to leave his signature, his handprint to disfigure, disgrace what God deemed beautiful. Once, I was fascinated with the color purple, nauseated with its exquisiteness because constantly being reminded of what seems to be a permanent stain from the hailstorm swinging blows. Fright should never be comfortable in your soul. Fear and tension is a normal occurrence that shouldn't be mistaken for rainbows and sunshine. Is love supposed to feel this way? Hand grenades, overpowering hugs and kisses. The ego stays tripping, screaming for healing, yet fixated on dealing with feelings by suppressing anything resembling affection, neglecting, abandoning adoration and admiration, and harnessing an evil, corrupting the hearts of those around him. So never can I escape the images. Ingrained in my eyelids, I try to close them, but yet I see him. I detest him. I'm bewitched into thinking this dysfunction chaos is a commonplace, and dreams and fantasies morph into reality, a nightmare I can't wake up from. Sleepwalking into relationships mirroring, Mama, what you taught me.
Whew. Heavy, 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 sis.
I love all these poems to
That's
your
deep.
mothers. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's so crazy. That's deep.
Yes. I tell you what, I appreciate you sharing that. And do you encourage? I know that you're teaching younger students. Where are your students at, and how do you guide them through poetry?
Well, I used to have a poetry club, and when I did middle school years ago, it didn't really catch on when I moved. In high school, we read a lot of poetry, analyze a lot of poetry. I give them the option that when we're writing short stories and fiction, they have the option to write it in poetry. And I actually have some kids who take me up on my offer, because a lot of people don't realize that fiction can be written in poetry. But we analyze a lot of poetry. Matter of fact, I won one of oh my gosh, I blanked out like that. But You So Black, her author. Oh, why did I forget her name that quick?
Teresa the Songbird?
Yes, I won one of her books.
Oh,
And
nice.
I had it read to the kids. Like I played her video, we analyzed it, and they had to do what was called text to text connection. How can you apply it? Because sadly, when you hear You So Black, they think negatively what that means versus how it's positive. So
All right. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate you. I want to thank you, Georgia Nubia, for sharing as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Uh,
for having me.
thank
Thank
you.
you both for coming on and sharing. That's
yes,
so important.
thank you so much.
And thank you, Bailey.
Definitely, we got to thank
Georgia
Bailey.
Nubia, I need one of your paintings. I would love to purchase one. Purchase, people. Purchase and support.
Purchase.
I
Absolutely.
will give you my phone number. Do you need my phone number so that you can text me? I can
Yep.
send
Oh,
DM
yeah.
me your phone number on IG.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will give
All
you
right.
that.
Here's the thing. Here's where I want to go before we leave here. I would love if you would talk about Queensheba, if you would talk about poetry versus hip hop. I know you got something going on Sunday, so let's go there.
How willing are y'all to drive down to Atlanta? because
Making.
I will come through.
Making.
Yes, y'all put like some people in a van and come through. So
Yeah.
I own a production called Poetry vs. Hip Hop. We are in our 9th year. We just celebrated 8 years. This is my puppy, German Shepherd. She wants to say hi. She's so nosy. But Poetry vs. Hip Hop is a production that I do in Atlanta, and we go on the road. We have been in Columbia, South Carolina twice. We have been in Charlotte 3 times. We were in Durham twice, and we are going to be doing Durham and Charlotte again this coming summer. So
Okay.
Poetry vs. Hip Hop happens Valentine's weekend, then in the summer, and then in the winter.
Okay.
And I do that because my own schedule, my Queensheba DJ and performance poetry keynote professor schedule is insane between January and May. And then it's insane again between September and of course November. So that's where I do that production then. It is a friendly battle of poets and MCs, but you get a whole concert the first hour, and then the winning team gets $1,000 and the losing team gets $500. So please come out and see the show. We already have our shows lined up for this February 11th. There are 2 shows. 6:30 is almost sold out. So please come to the 9:30 show. You go to citywinery.com/Atlanta. citywinery.com/Atlanta. And then you click on February 11th. You'll see our show. It'll have 2 times, but again, 6:30 probably has like 4 or 5 seats left, but 9:30 show has probably a little less than 100. So please come to our 9:30 show. And if you've never seen it before and you're a poet or an MC and you want to be in the show, I suggest you watch it first. It's a fun time. Our tickets are affordable. They start at $25, which is, anything. And then of course you can sit a little closer for $50. So come through. And if you would like to have Poetry vs. Hip Hop in your city and you have a venue that can house 200 to 300 people, we can always do multiple shows, of course, if we sell out. And if you have a budget, when you already have your budget of at least $10,000 to $15,000, then please, give us a call or DM us or email us. Everything is Poetry vs. Hip Hop, just how it sounds. Poetry VS, like Victor Sam Hip Hop, at Gmail, IG, and TikTok. So please join our community. Join me on social media. I love TikTok, but I suck at it. So, have patience with me as I try to do these TikTok videos and dances, and also try to, put up my poetry. It's so insane. It's a lot.
We got to figure. I got to figure it out too. There has to be a better way.
Manager, but you still have to do the stuff. You still have to do the content yourself.
Right.
And
there's
then
still things you got to do.
Still things that you got to do. But Poetry vs. Hip Hop is lit, y'all. Again, I'm so glad that y'all have me. I'm just a little fatigued from the traveling, but it's a lit show. It is super fun. Come through. I may even auction off the dress there. I'm going to bring it in case anybody wants to buy it while I'm on stage. And then we'll be in Nashville. So I don't know how far you are from Nashville. So we'll be in Nashville on Tuesday. So Atlanta on Sunday and Nashville on Tuesday. So, I mean, you can roll with us. Come through.
All right. We got Ty Davis. He said, I really needed this. He said, thank y'all.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you, and I want you to get some rest. I want to congratulate you again. I appreciate everything that you've shared here with us. It has been a wealth of knowledge. Like I said, everybody's going to have to watch this back because there's a lot of notes that they're going to have to take. All right.
Thank you so much. And I'm coming out with a new album for us, right? For me, anyway, it's my 10th album. So it's a big deal. It's a big number. It's my 10th album. It's going to be called A Higher Learning. And so I'm going to do the play off of being a professor and a poet. And you know how they have like that A apple, that big, the capital A and then the small A with the little apple.
Right.
I'm going to do something for that for my graphic design. I've been toying around with some names, but I think it's going to be called A Higher Learning. Okay. And kind of the metaphor between a higher learning of self and then of God, and then all the things that come through poetry and music. So yeah.
All
So,
right.
look out for the album. That will be out soon. And hopefully, if anybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that can help publish my poetry book, please let me know. Also, one last thing I want to say. I do have a I do have a mentoring group me. So if you're interested in being a part of my mentoring group me, I have a free version and I have a version that's $50 a year, people. A year. It's $50 a year.
Wow.
And
That's
so the
great.
difference is in the free group me, you could talk, network with each other. There's about there's members in there that are all over the country, and they talk about shows that they have going on and stuff that's happening. So, and then we do a writing prompt virtually in the group me once a week. I drop it in there, and then people share their poems, and then we give each other feedback on the poems weekly. It doesn't
Awesome.
have to be finished. Yeah, just to kind of get your brain going. And then the $50 membership one, it's actually a huge difference. I actually I solicit jobs out of that one first. So that's how Lady V, got the job. I always go in there and say, hey, I need a photographer, I need a videographer, I need this. And they're always paid, right? And I also drop grants in there. I also drop anything that comes across my email that is national grant for poets or artists or funding, or Tiny Desk is open contest right now. So anything that's there. So all of the information and anything that I can think of gets dumped into the membership one for $50 a year. You got a year from December to
Wow.
December. And you can pay it at any time. You can pay it at any time. You can pay it now. You can pay it later. If you don't have it now, that's perfectly fine. You can go into the free one. Everybody's in the free one. And then when you pay your $50, you get jumped over to the membership one in addition. So you don't lose, any information in between the two.
All
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
So if y'all want to be a part of that, just DM me on Instagram. That's where I answer everything. And then I'll hook y'all up.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you for
And
having me. This has been great.
just digest it all, love it all. You were great. You were beautiful. You represent us very, very well. And we got to do this.
And the
again.
album's not going anywhere, you guys. So I mean, once it's,
Get
like
the
you said earlier,
album.
once it's on the internet, it's there forever. So please go listen, download, stream, and you can use it for your TikToks and you can use it for your Instagram, just like you use everybody else's music. You can go to a poet's album. Any poet that has music on the internet, it is on TikTok, Instagram. So put in my name in your next video and, choose something that you like.
I didn't even know that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know that. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
So the next time y'all see MsTONYA, you going to hear Queensheba. I'm going to
Hello.
find something to, because
Exactly.
if I don't have nothing else, I got some video.
Come on. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
That's wonderful.
I see we got William Thompson in the building. How you doing, Will? Master Barber in the house here. Nice. He said, nice. Love it, T. Respect, brother. Also, we got Keep the Faith for Tori. She said, this was so needed. Great
Thank
show.
you so much.
We're going to end with that. All right.
Peace.
All right, lady. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, y'all. I'm just trying to introduce you to a little bit more poetry. I'm trying to get you a little bit more involved in the culture. We've got people who are teaching us things. If you can't get out here and network, sometimes I'm going to bring that network right into your home. I'm going to bring it right into your phone. You just got to make sure that you're here, right here at the Poets House Live. Y'all be good out here. All right? One love, y'all.